Prime Minister Modi is set to address the nation today at around 5 p.m. this evening is what we're learning. This is the latest detail that we're tracking for you on the broadcast. We're expecting the Prime Minister to address the nation at around 5 p.m. today. Right, this is of course the latest detail we're tracking for you on the broadcast. The Prime Minister expected to address the nation at around 5 p.m. today. My colleague Akhilesh joins us with more details. Akhilesh, do we have details of what the Prime Minister is expected to address on today?
Well, the official sources have just informed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address to the nation at 5 p.m. today. They haven't given any details about what is going to be it's all about. But it can be also about the Atmanirbharta, the way Prime Minister Modi has talked about it yesterday in Gujarat, and also the way US has imposed tariff. And this could be about anything. I mean, we do not know because we do not have any official information about the topic of Prime Minister Modi's address. But in the past, on various occasions, he has addressed to the nation, be it Operation Sindoor or be it about COVID situation in India. So on various occasions, he has addressed. So we have to wait and see. What is the topic this time on which PM Modi is going to talk to the people of the nation?
The address also comes at an important time. It's ahead of several of the assembly elections that we're expecting to take place next year. The BJP as well is going to be strategizing for that. Not just that, but remember the GST reforms as well are going to be coming into force from less than 24 hours. So perhaps we can expect the Prime Minister to address those things as well.
That's correct. In fact, from tomorrow onwards, the GST 2.0, as it is known, the GST reforms is going to come into effect. And the major focus is to reduce prices of the daily use items, and it is a big relief to the lower middle class of the country. So Prime Minister Modi may talk to the nation about the benefits of the GST reforms. This is another very important point which can be addressed by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because this is being described as the biggest reform as far as the taxation is concerned, and various items have been moved from to the lower slabs. It's basically a big relief to the middle class, and Prime Minister Modi is likely to emphasize on that point also, because from tomorrow onwards, the festival session is going to begin, and Navratra begins from tomorrow, and GST rates will also come into effect from tomorrow. And in fact, PM Modi has talked about a focus on Swadeshi, and BJP is launching a campaign to focus on Swadeshi products. In fact, BJP President JP Nadda yesterday talked to all the BJP CMs through the video conference and urged them to encourage Swadeshi products during the festival season. And BJP rule states have been asked to encourage the shopkeepers to display the signs of Swadeshi at their shops. So that is another campaign which is being launched by the BJP. So that may also come during the Prime Minister's address to the nation at 5 p.m. today.
Right, Akhilesh, like you mentioned, the Prime Minister has been pushing for Make in India products. And of course, this comes at a time when the US has put about 50% tariff on India. And of course, these tariffs come as a major question over the relationship between the US and India as well. Perhaps the Prime Minister will also be reiterating that India needs to focus on Make in India products. And earlier as well in his addresses, Akhilesh, the Prime Minister had mentioned that there are nations trying to question India's growth and making it the third largest economy.
That's correct. In fact, yesterday he was in Gujarat, his home state, and he addressed the people there. And he said very clearly that India's biggest enemy is not any other nation, but it is our dependence on other nations. And we have to be Atmanirbhar or self-dependent. He urged people to that they should buy Swadeshi products. And as you rightly mentioned, that this 50% tariff is a big jolt to the exporters of India, especially in sectors like jewels and jewelry, apparels and textile. And Indian government is in fact considering a relief package for them. And as we speak, the Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, is traveling to the US to hold talks for the bilateral trade agreement with the US officials. So this is another very important visit. In fact, External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, will also be in the US to take part in the UNGA. And because these two senior ministers are going to be in the US, so we can see some progress as far as the bilateral relationship between the US and India is concerned. But in the meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi has been emphasizing that there should be a larger focus on Make in India. And he may also talk about it because this is the right opportunity. Because during the Navratri season, Navratri festivals, people of India purchase large number of items. And it's a big boost to the consumption in India during this festival season. In fact, if you recall in the past 10-15 days, since the GST Council has decided to go ahead with the GST reforms and reduction of GST rates on various items, at least 99% items have been moved to the lower tax regimes or have been exempted. That point of time, we have seen that various companies, be it in the FMCG sector or the automobile sector, they have been publicizing and giving relief to the consumers. So this is going to be a big boost to the Indian economy as far as the consumption and buying is concerned.
Right, Akhilesh, thank you for joining us and bringing us those details. My colleague Vasudha joins us as well. Vasudha, take us through what we can expect the Prime Minister's address and perhaps GST's kickoff. What are the major points he's perhaps going to be making as per what your sources are telling you?
That's right, Aarti. In fact, it's always difficult to predict what the Prime Minister could be speaking, but this comes just a day before GST reforms get kicked in and also 3 days after he turned 75. This is also a very important time for the country because as we get into the festive season, not just the tariff talks are underway, there's also this sense of uncertainty with the announcement by Donald Trump government on the H-1B visa. But with regard to the GST reforms, it's a landmark move towards simplifying tax structure. The Prime Minister during Independence Day speech this time at the Red Fort promised all Indians that Diwali is going to come early. In fact, the celebrations are going to be special this year because these reforms are slated to make it easy not just for consumers but also for dealers and shopkeepers because these are wide-ranging reforms and that's exactly what probably the Prime Minister could also touch upon because these new rates are going to be implemented from Monday and there is going to be a potential impact like Akhilesh was saying, not just on demand, but also on consumption. And the Prime Minister is likely to speak and address all these issues, special focus on Atmanirbharta, self-reliance. In the last few years, he has addressed the nation on several occasions, including on Operation Sindoor. COVID was when he really spoke to the country on a regular basis. We've also seen him come live, speak to the nation to talk about space achievements. So this is his way of maintaining connect with people and speaking to his country people on a regular at regular intervals.
Right, Vasudha. Now, as far as the GST reforms are concerned, Vasudha, it's one of the major reforms that we're seeing as far as finance is concerned, and it's being received well as well. So we can expect the Prime Minister will be touching upon that. And like I was talking to Akhilesh about this earlier as well, he mentioned that the Prime Minister in his previous speeches as well has been speaking about Make in India and ensuring that ease of doing business in India is increased and the amount of consumption of Indian goods must be increased as well.
That's right, Aarti. The rationalization under the next generation GST reforms, which is what the government is calling this, is expected to stimulate demand for a large number of goods, especially electronic and solar devices also. And we've seen people purchase a lot of electronic devices during this festive season. It is aimed at increasing the affordability of essentials as well as essential technologies for citizens. And these reforms are going to come into effect from tomorrow, which is why the Prime Minister's speech today is expected to in some ways tell the country that he has stood by his commitment and promise that this time he will bring in Diwali gifts for the people of the country before the festival season starts. And remember that the tax rate on devices like even TVs and air conditioners, dishwashers have been really splashed from that earlier 28% to 18%. So there is a sense that this will not just strengthen digital economy, but it will also in some ways improve the kind of innovation efforts that we've been making and will also support our startup ecosystem. Apart from the fact that, there will be, there's also concession on renewable devices, solar panels, and at industrial levels and items that are used in every household, making essential cheaper and affordable for common Indians. So clearly, the Prime Minister would also want to drive home the fact that all Indians are going to get impacted, are going to get benefited by the reforms that are going to get implemented starting tomorrow.